What we're seeing is there's been record investment volumes in the Nordics in all four of the countries. But if you actually look at you break it down as to how much is actually foreign and how much is local. If you take the biggest of the four, which is Sweden, for example, and you look at last year's investment volumes, 80% of it was local, so Swede to Swede. But that if you look at that 20%. 50% of that was Nordic to Swede, so it's a Dane buying in Sweden or something like that. So that actually means true volume is more around the 10% mark. And of that, last year, the lion's share of that was with one large transaction that was completed by Starwood on a very large pan-Swedish portfolio. So that gives you a feeling for, I think, the actual amount of foreign investment that is coming in. And why is that? The main reason is you have a very, very strong, in Finland, Denmark, Sweden, you have a very, very strong local pension market that is funding a lot of the very large property companies. So you have big exposures by those groups to real estate. And I think everybody is chasing a home in real estate at the moment, given our low interest rates. And as such, one way I think, or what we've seen at Catella, to actually access this market, there's been a lot of activity in the listed side. And we at Catella work a lot on the more on the corporate finance side than just the pure sell side transaction. And one example of that's a success story from end of last year and start of this year is the listing of a new company called NP3. So our role in that was to actually act as advisor on the listing and go out and place that product. And what NP3 was a property company that, or what it is a property company that is chasing assets from geographically in Sweden from Stockholm above. So nothing in Stockholm, but the smaller cities in Sweden like Luleå and Umeå and these types of smaller cities. And the type of product they're chasing in those cities is assets between the sort of, I would say, 5 million euro to the 20 million euro mark. And why that's interesting is because assets in that kind of range are a little bit too big for a local mum and dad investor that have been in those cities all their life to actually take on. But they're a little bit too small for a foreign investor to actually get out of bed for. So I think what's happened is this property company has fitted into a niche, if you will, of being able to buy assets in a market where there hasn't been a lot of competition. There isn't a lot of competition, and as such has been able to project returns and be very attractive. And when I say very attractive, if you look at how attractive that was on the market, I think we were 6 times oversubscribed for the actual raising of that money, and it marked the first investment by a pension fund, AP4 in fact, into a listed vehicle. So how has that gone? I think we took it out at about 30 SEK, and it's now trading quite a lot higher than that. Did we underprice it? No. At the time that we went out, it's important to offer a discount when you're going out. The market, it's been extremely well helped by the listed market in general and the increases there. So I think it's been a very big success story, and we'll see more activity like that. Another example would be a property of Doughty Hansen's that they owned in a place called Gothenburg, one of the other bigger cities of Sweden. It was 3 buildings actually tenanted by Volvo, whose HQ is in that city. And in that case, Catella actually created a new property company with those assets. And that property company bought those assets off Doughty Hansen. So the property company is called Torslanda. Catella created the vehicle. What we did is we used our wealth management division in Sweden. We've got offices all around, dotted around Sweden, And there's a terrific appetite at the moment from not just institutions, but from mum and dad investors who are wanting to have a piece of real estate, who could never buy a 70 million euro plus piece of real estate on their own. So in that particular instance, we had 150 investors that we went out to. 99% of them said that they wanted a piece of it, but actually we were 2 times oversubscribed in the amount of money that each of them wanted to put in. So in both of those instances, double the capital that we were trying to raise on a purely an office building purchase, and then 6 times the capital that we were trying to raise for a product that's buying what I would call value-add and opportunistic properties in smaller cities. So I guess that gives you a feeling for the weight of foreign capital that's coming in, and it also gives you a feeling for the amount of local capital and the different ways that capital is trying to access real estate. And I think at Catella we've been successful in being able to create those different opportunities, and I think we'll do so going forward as well.